my name's BBoy. I'm from Fredericton, New Brunswick. Been around almost 10 years in the breaking scene now. We're just doing this with BBoy North, asking a few questions with YNOT. Just came out to judge Trial by Style. It was a dope event. It's really good. I have a question. I did my sociology honors thesis on breaking and the route that competitions have taken. So we've kind of gone into more recently the big debate's been, is it a sport or is it an art? And if it does become a sport, then we do need to have regulations and a certain amount of criteria, right? So the Dizzy system is, I always say the Dizzy system is the RS system, is foundation, originality, dynamics, execution, and battle, right? I just want to ask your opinion on, you know, that in general with breaking, and then also how that might relate into, you know, different specialized battles like the top rock battles, footwork battles. You know.
Well, it's kind of like what I said earlier. There's times that, you know, you're going to use what you're best at to take people out, and then at times you're going to switch it up. I'm not going to use all those aspects of definite things that people use for competition or a battle or just a conversation, like we say. You know, they're very valid in terms of category, but I may not use those things to take somebody out if I don't need to. So because I choose to do something else and I did not do a certain thing, does that mean that I lost that battle? I've won battles against people who have come with everything and I beat them with just top line. Now, do I lose because I didn't fit in those categories? That's the one thing that can't be explained, you know, and not taken away from the system or anything that's going to move towards that way, but I choose to not use that because I believe so strongly that it's very possible that someone can lose without having to do every single category of that competition, you know what I mean? Or how it's set up. You know, I always relate everything to boxing because I'm just heavy into it, but there's people who have power punches and, you know, one may be a southpaw or whatever, or blah, blah, blah. And then there could be one person who just has a very dynamic jab. And because he's not an all-around boxer, but he's fighting an all-around boxer, doesn't make either one a better boxer, but the guy with the jab is the one that won the fight. You know what I mean? It's those type of situations, and I can't take away that person's moment by trying to put him in a box, you know what I'm saying? We can't necessarily package art in a box, you know? For example, if there was a painting on the wall, I can't say, okay, most paintings are done with this amount of colors, this amount of brush stroke, this amount of medium or whatever you choose. You know, you can't box it like that. You know, and that's the beauty of it, is that it can go in different places and people can use it in ways that makes it work for them, because it's about the individual. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, maybe if we all were all well-rounded in one, you know, the way this is going, I guess, and then you can still put your artistic inside that as well. But it's like, you know, it's, I don't know, it's a little too complicated for me, you know, and it's not the way that I came up, so it's hard for me to understand it.
Yeah. Follow off of that, you were talking with Terry earlier, Faith, you know, about that moment, that feeling that you get. The guys from, you know, ISM crew, that's like their big thing, you know, is like the isms. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to portray, and they really show that through their production. You know, the ism shows. That's their main goal. Is you know, just as you were in a battle, you're trying to hit that. You know, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, as long as, you know, you see someone doing that, or you're getting that, you know, that, oh, you know, that guy's nasty or whatever. And I just want to, I have an idea about it, about adding that in with the FODEV system, I call it, the Foundation, Originality, Dynamics, Execution, Battle. Like, it might be interesting to see, you know, guys who can really pick that up, you know, like, you know, yourself, you were just mentioning, you know, you can really see that, and you can feel that, because not everyone can, you know, they just focus on that W or the L.
Yeah.
So, would you, you know, if you're judging that way already, you know, would you think that might be something that would happen with the system?
I don't think it can. It's not. And again, everything is still opinionated. Even with the system, it's still opinionated. A lot of people have their concept of what they think a footwork is, you know, or what they think, they have their own battle mentality, they have their own, you know, so you're still subjected by their opinion anyway. I just think it's just a way to semi-help the process so that we can have a numbered system to what we're doing, but, you know, I don't view it that way. I can't, you know, I can't do it that way. It's just awkward to me, you know. It's just too much of an art for me. I wouldn't call it a sport ever. I train like an athlete, but I don't dance like an athlete. I can do pretty dope physical things, but that doesn't, I'm not, you know.
Yeah, that's real.
It's just, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It is what it is.
One of the main things when I was talking to Dizzy about it, and for everyone out there, you know, if you are, you know, supporting this system, don't think I'm just a neutral bystander. I just want to get everyone's opinions first. I think it is going to help advance, you know, the scene. Everyone's opinions is going to help us grow. The one main thing he says we need it for is to develop, you know, an association for everyone, just like, you know, a sports association. League can help, you know, help those involved, invested. Any thoughts on that? You know, because, you know, when we do start getting older and then we don't really get to go traveling as much, you know, get to compete as much, like, is there something going to be there for us after? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. It's a good idea because, you know, I think about longevity a lot, especially at my age. Like, pretty much once I hit 30, I was like, okay, where am I going with this, you know? And it's funny because I originally went to college because I knew, I mean, hip-hop was still so new to me. I was doing it for like 4 or 5 years before I went to school. But I really chose school because I was like, 30 is, like, I'll never make it to 30 doing this. At that time, there was no possibility for that, you know? And the guys that were motivating me were just under 30 or just turning 30. Like, Lex was just getting into his 30s, and like, there wasn't opportunity, there was nobody teaching classes, there was nobody really getting flown everywhere for these battles. People were flying themselves for like smaller competitions, you know, which were big at that time because it was just 1 or 2 of them during the year. Like, you had Freestyle Session, you had Rocksteady Anniversary, you had Battle of the Year, you know, these were like the ones that everybody knew about. But yeah, there was no real opportunity. So it's like, as you get older, you got to think about things. My thing is, like, when I see larger competitions, like for example a Rebel BC1, I really enjoy watching it. Only because it's still set in a decent format where you just have a judge's opinion. We're not trying to nitpick at what they're doing. It's still subjected to somebody's decision. You know, there's 5 judges. Okay, that's good. You got 2 people battling out, kind of like Coliseum style. It's pretty ill, actually. It's still in a circle. You got people around you. That energy's there. I like it. I wanted to pitch this idea towards Rebel, which I started already. But again, going back to boxing, you know, there's trainers who have done boxing. They become trainers as their next thing, because there's people who can't compete on those high levels anymore, but they have the knowledge of the dance. They've been dancing longer than some of these young kids now. A lot of these young kids will, in that environment, totally win. But if you put them in a room together or in a cypher together, an older dancer can teach that kid a lot of stuff. And that kid will probably go, damn, I really don't know this dance as much as I thought I did. But a lot of times that conversation won't happen because you won't see them in the same cypher, you know, whatever. Sometimes there are no ciphers at these events. These things don't happen anymore. It's like, it just doesn't happen. And it's just like, those moments aren't gonna happen, so we have to create them. So what I think about is, like, for example, like, you know, Freddie Roach is a boxing trainer. He has, you know, Parkinson's. This is a guy who can't physically do anything anymore, but he has the knowledge. Most older dancers are semi-broken, you know what I'm saying? They can't do as much things, but they have that knowledge. They can train these people. Now imagine you're a young B-boy who's coming up in the game. you had a favorite that you used to watch that was like your dude, that you were like, ah, but you never met this person or whatever, or maybe you did one time, but imagine if you want to train with him and you get to pick your trainer. Like, I want to train with Ken Swift, I want him to be my trainer. You know, and then it's creating a job opportunity for the person who's older, and also you now have a one-on-one experience with, like, you know, which is a little bit better than going to a class or something like that. And
yeah, like an hour workshop.
Yeah, and you spend that time, and that trainer goes to your battle with you. You know, he kind of watches you do your thing, coaches you or whatever, if you know, that kind of thing, which is like not a far-fetched concept.
No.
Which coaching and training may sound funny to somebody, but at this point, it's like Master Apprentice. It's just like some kung fu stuff. It's not any different than that. You know what I mean? But the only difference is that, you know, the master usually will agree to it only if he feels you got a little something going on. You know, which can still happen today. But I do feel when money's involved, people just go, oh yeah, I'll do it. So.
It's a little bit in my head of like Ken Swift, like Meredith Burgess and Rocky. Like,
Rocky, get up, you bum. Do that freeze again. You're a body bag. Yeah. My thing is education right now. There's a lot. I mean, but again, like my approach to hip hop is very different. I'm not in the same boat as a lot of b-boys because I don't just b-boy. So it's hard for me to understand where b-boys would be thinking of going if they just want to do this. You know, I do think there's a lot more to life, and then hip-hop also, that you can do, and people are very just on one element or one track mind. You know, I think there's so much you can do, like beyond b-boying. It's like, come on, man, like you know. But if that's you know, if you love it, I can't say nothing about that. I mean, I love it just as much as anybody else. But it's like, you choose to go, that's just what you want to do, then there's got to be an opportunity for you. You know, there's got to be ways for you to get out there. You can market yourself, whatever it is. I don't think b-boys have really looked into the idea of a fitness program. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very physical thing, and then not only that, you're dancing at the same time. Great. You know, you don't even think of that you're working out. You're just doing it. Why couldn't we do something like that? You know, there's so much we can do, and then without the people trying to say we selling out.
Yeah. Well,
That's another far-fetched concept. Nobody's selling out. You can't sell out nowadays. We've been sold out.
Yes.
Nobody's from the 70s anymore here. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. We're not from the Bronx. I can't share that experience. I have my experience in hip-hop. You have your experience in hip-hop. I can't tell you if I'm more real than you. The real is gone already. If you can understand that, then you won't have this weird chip on your shoulder and think that you know and everyone else doesn't. You know, and that's mainly why the culture never moves forward. You know what I'm saying? Like something like the hour system, I won't shoot any of that stuff down. It's not what I do, but it doesn't mean that has to be the end all say, oh, what's going to be happening. I can't say that. I can't say that.
Truth.
Yeah, something that you may not understand is usually the thing that makes change at times. And you can't hold that back because you don't get it. Yeah. You know, I can't be like, no man, it's whack, we ain't doing that. And then it's like all of a sudden you see it everywhere and you're like, yeah, whatever, that's alright. So it's like, if we can understand that we are just human, that's the biggest thing you can understand, I feel, in life. Because, you know, you really don't know. God knows, you don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Even the people in the church are human.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues of this dance, like social workers, you know, like
Yes.
hip hop is full of peacemakers, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, how could it not be such a peaceful thing? It's kind of crazy because it's like hip hop itself was like, it was created to do something very positive. You know, no matter what the circumstances were or whatever, it's like hip hop in itself, it's a great thing because it's spreading art, culture, and it's like, you cannot go wrong with that necessarily, you know. It's like, you know, when I went to Africa in 2008, interesting thing, because when I was there, you know, you have a war-torn area. You got these people who are just in need of hope, you know what I'm saying? They're out there, there's so much craziness going on. There's kids that were abducted, they become soldiers and things like that, you know, and they're killing people at the age of 11 or 12. They had their limbs cut off. Some people have disease. It's like a long, crazy thing. But the thing is, you know, because of what has happened, everyone's like, they built up a wall so big that they don't let anybody in or anybody out, you know what I'm saying? And the thing was, you know, there's Abrams who was like one of the dudes that introduced us to the whole, you know, breakdance project Uganda, the BPU. And we went out there and we saw what he was doing. He was taking outside concepts such as hip hop and just saying, hey guys, check this out. And it's got everybody's attention, you know, because it's an outside idea. It's just something not normal, you know, to what was happening there. And then he's got everybody uniting, getting together, dancing and enjoying. And then not only that, it gives them a focus and a hope, which is really what people need. You know, and I feel like hip hop does that no matter what. Even though it turns itself around sometimes and just it hustles backwards at times, because you know, the mind is a scary thing, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta let things go, things happen, and enjoy. Even though we want to get jobs, we want to get paid doing this stuff, we want to survive because it's so fun. I understand the passion of it. I love this so much. I want this to be my life. Oh, how am I gonna work though? How am I gonna get paid? What am I? Man, you gotta think. Don't be all panicky and being like, you know, mad at this person because they didn't give you a job, or, you know, how come I didn't win this battle? If I don't win the battles, I'm not gonna be known, and then how am I gonna be? Man. You know what I mean? It gets too crazy. And then people need to go back to the original thought of, man, this is just dope. And we having a good time, we having fun with it, you know?
Yes.